All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the MicDrop podcast. It's your boy Alex Wordu. Follow us on all social media platforms. The link will be in the description down below. Got a special guest in the building, Fresh Ayr, Grammy nominated. You know what I'm saying? Say so to the people.
What it is, what it do, man.
I'm doing good, man. So you live in Dallas, right?
Yeah, right now, born and raised in Baltimore, but I stay in Dallas.
Okay. Yeah, I used to live in Arlington actually for a couple years.
So yeah,
Then I
they
moved
call
to
it
Austin.
Ag Town.
Yeah. Austin's cool too. You know what I'm saying? Like, might go to South by Southwest or something like that. But shit, let's take it back to the very beginning. You know what I'm saying? Who is Fresh Ayr? You know what I'm saying? Like, where did the name come from? Like, what inspired you to become a producer? You know what I'm saying? All that good stuff.
So I started off with the name J. Oliver. That's what everybody knows me as, J. Oliver. And that comes from my first name and my middle name. It's funny because a lot of people think it's my last name. So they be like, "Oh, yo, we related." Like, nah, it's not my last name. But yeah, that's where the name came from. And then eventually evolved into Fresh Ayr when I started to rebrand myself because branding became really important to me. So I started to rebrand myself, and that's why I came up with the name Fresh Ayr. Started producing when I was young. I didn't start doing it because, I just got out of high school or got out of college and didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, or because I wanted to chase clout because it was the cool thing to do. I actually loved the music. I started off singing in the church choir, and I was an artist first. And then I didn't have no beats, so that's why I started making my own beats. Recording myself in my house using Adobe Audition, and a computer mic, placing it on my wall with Scotch tape. So that's where I started from. So I've been doing it for a long time, and I just got better with it. Like, I wasn't doing it for the money; I was just doing it because I love to do it with my brothers, and then it just became something.
Right. Okay. So you were were you a songwriter at that point when you were?
I was an artist. So I was always, when I was coming up, bro, like, there wasn't no, oh, he's a songwriter. It was, you wrote your own stuff. So I was an artist, and I'm glad, So I was always writing my own things. I didn't have people writing stuff for me, So it kind of helped me. It benefited.
Right. Okay. So what was the proverbial, door you had to walk through, or what was the defining moment for you that was I'm gonna be a producer, this is what I need to be doing, out of all the things, this is what I need to be doing. What was that moment for you?
I don't really know. It wasn't really, it was one of those things where my parents wanted me to go to college, I wanted to go just because I wanted to fuck around with the girls. Can I say that on here?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. I wanted, I wanted to mess around with the, with the chicks and, parties and stuff like that. That's why I wanted to go to college. You know what I'm saying? And I get to be away from home. But they wanted me to go to college, to get a good education and to get a good job when I got out of there. But I already knew, there was no second option for me. I never had a second option. I always said to myself, this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. I never thought of doing anything else besides this. Really, that was really my mentality the whole time I was in college. So I was while I'm in college, I'm going to go do the bare minimum and make my peoples happy, so they can keep giving me money, so I can keep continuing to fuel, this dream that I have. And I took that leap of faith when I left. I quit my job back in my real 9-to-5 job back in 2012. And I haven't had a real job since then, since 2012. And I just, said I was going to get it. And I had no idea what I was getting myself into when I did that. None at all. I had no idea what I was getting myself into when I decided that, that was it for me, working a 9-to-5.
Yeah. What job was it?
I was a valet. I was part of the car.
Okay. I mean, it's not like warehouse or anything like that, but you know what I'm saying?
Nah, but you said living in Baltimore though, yo, you got sit outside with a winter coat. They don't want you standing inside the hotel. You got to stand outside, you know what I mean? It was cool, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
It did what it did, you know, with the tips and stuff, you know. But honestly, I set my schedule to where it was like I only worked 3 days a week, but I worked 10-hour shifts. So those 3 days were long, but I did it because I needed Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays off so that I could work on my craft. You know, I use Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays to really work on my music. You know, and then Sundays was like a rest days, and then I would go back in Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays for 10 hours, and it'd be tough.
I see. Okay, so what are some of like your favorite records that you've been a part of? And for me personally, I fuck with that Tory Lanez song, the Cats and Freakos. I just want to know how like that whole situation came to be, and like what
So
were
like
your favorite records? Yeah.
some of my favorite records that I was a part of is I was excited about the record that I did with Trey Songz and Kevin Hart. It was originally just supposed to be Trey Songz. I was really
You said
excited
Kevin
about that
Hart?
record. Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Pushing on Me.
Okay.
I feel like if Kevin Hart wasn't on it, they would have took it more seriously and it would have been a smash on the radio. But because he jumped on it, everybody kind of like they all like was like, should we take this serious? And everybody didn't jump on it as fast as I would like. You know, it did hit the charts, but I feel like it could have been a bigger record. But I really like that one because I wrote and produced that song. So like that was dope. Lil Quita, I was happy to be a part of that one because I did that for Trap Boy Freddy in Dallas, and that became one of Dallas's staple classic songs. Like that will be a song from Dallas forever. Like that will be embedded in the culture in Dallas, and it was just cool doing it because I'm not from Dallas. So to be able to have a classic with an artist from Dallas in Dallas 10 years from now, people will be still talking about that song. That's pretty dope. Also, the record with Tory Lanez was cool too because I've always one of my favorite beats that I made. You know, originally did that beat with a guy named Wavy West out of France, kid out of France, and you know, me and him did that, and then when I sent it over to Tory, I guess that's when Play Picasso, you know, he touched up on it and they just turned it into a masterpiece. Like that song is fire. And then like, of course, Tory's pen is crazy, you know, so shout out to, you know, Tory, Play, and Johan and Wes.
Facts. Shout out to Wavy. That's my guy. I fuck with Wavy.
Okay.
You know okay. So I usually ask this question to a lot of producers because usually I interview like a bunch of producers, music video directors, stuff like that. And I always ask them like, for an up and coming producer, like, what do you think is like the most effective way to like get bigger placements?
For up and coming producers, the biggest way to get you know, placements is two things. The first thing is move to an area where there's traction, right? So you will go to somewhere like Atlanta, you would go to somewhere like Miami, you would go to somewhere like LA, you would go to somewhere like New York. You want to move to one of those four areas because that's where a lot of the artists come through, and that's where you can meet a lot of different people to gain that traction that you need to gain. Now, it's be tough because you need to be able to financially support yourself. You need to be able to be stable before you can do anything else. The second thing I always tell producers to do is to do collabs with as many producers as they can, and to do paid collabs with the bigger producers, because when you do that, you're investing in yourself. And if your stuff is good, then, you know, it'll show. Now, the only thing about doing paid collabs, which producers have to understand, is sometimes you might get it on the first try, but sometimes you might get it on the 50th try. And that's when it becomes very cost efficient, because I did paid collabs with two producers. I did with multiple producers, but there was two producers who got it on their first placement. This guy I did, I can't remember his name, but I did with him, and we got a placement with Eminem, and that was his first collab that he did, you know. And then there was another guy, his name is Benny. We did a collab together, and his first placement was Benny the Butcher and Ricky Hyde, and that was his first on his first try. But then there's other producers who I've done collabs with. We've done like 10 collabs, and I got it on the 10th try, and that's with this guy named Dillinger, and I got a placement with Meek Mill, but he didn't get that, so he did like 10, 15 collabs in. And then there's producers who will do 1 or 2 collabs, and we won't get any placements in, but I'll try to sell their beats to like independent artists and stuff like that. But if you're gonna go the collab route, you got to get at least, I want to say 50 to 75 collabs. And I know it's a lot. That is a lot of, that's a big number, but you need to do like 50 to 75 collabs with a producer to kind of get that one placement, because I mean, as it's so saturated, that's really how it goes. And when you're collabing with producers, you want to collab with a producer that moves. You want to collab with a producer that travels, that's in faces, that's not just sending off emails, but that's actually in the studios and doing stuff with the artists and, you know, have these relationships.
Okay.
It's a lot.
Okay. That makes sense. Who are like your top 5 producers like of all time, like in your opinion?
Kanye West, Southside from 808 Mafia.
Okay.
Mike Will.
Okay.
Pharrell.
Okay.
And the Neptunes. And then it's always hard getting the fifth because there's so many out there that's really dope. Because like I really like Swiss Beats, but like there's newer producers that have come that I really bang with really tough. But I would have to definitely go with Swiss Beats. I like Boy Wonder, but I think I would have to go with Swiss.
Okay.
So Swiss, so I'm gonna go Kanye. So, oh no, see, then it's hard, bro. I take that back. Kanye, Southside 808 Mafia, Mike Will. Who else did I say? What was the fourth one I said?
I think you say Pharrell.
Oh, from Neptunes, and then I'm gonna have to go Timbaland. And if I could, then I would bring in Swiss Beats, but I'm gonna have to go Timbaland with that.
Okay. You fuck with Hit Boy?
I like Hit Boy. Mm-hmm. I like him. I think he's dope. I think it's dope that, you know, what he's been able to do, as far as like, you know, with all the albums and getting, you know, Nas the Grammy and, you know, stuff like that. I think Hit Boy is dope for sure. It's definitely a legend.
Do you think competition between producers is like healthy for the industry? Because I've seen that clip that Hit Boy had posted where he was like dissing Metro and dissing, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I know you've seen it. It. What do you think about that? Do you think it should just be all like?
I think that with anything, it's always going to be competition, but people aren't going to talk about it, right? So with anything, with production, with rapping, with anything, there's always going to be competition. And I mean, I guess you could say it's healthy, but to me, I'm just about doing the records, man. Like, let's get the records done, because it's like, it's so many politics in this industry that the talent really doesn't. It's not about talent anymore. So, I mean, you could have somebody who just knows somebody that can get in the door and get more hits than you, just off of the fact that their relationship is stronger. So it's like, talent wise, like, because I seen, you know, Hitmaker and Hit Boy going back and forth, and, you know, Hitmaker says, well, you know, Hit Boy is good, but I got songs that's on the radio. You feel what I'm saying? Like, they actually gonna know my stuff, you know, because you can hear my stuff on the radio. And then you got Hit Boy who says, well, I mean, you don't even make beats, but you don't necessarily need to be a producer to make beats. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you don't really, but that's why I say, like, it's just like, just get the records done. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be healthy competition, but, you know, just get the records done.
Yeah, because I know people that just do loops, people that just, you know.
Yeah, right. Because hey, man, listen. 2020 is when I started using loops, and I was against it for a long time.
Why?
And you know, my mentor sat me down and he said, yo, like, it's no problem using loops. Like, it's cool. Like, you know, you can create your own beats, you know, just give, you know, loops a chance. And I ain't gonna lie, using loops that made me lazy. I don't know when, like, I don't really like my production using loops has been so crazy that I continue to do. I can make 7 beats in a day using the loop versus making 1 or 2, you know, and be having beat fog or something like that. But the thing about using loops is when you have an understanding of music, it goes so much further than, you know, just the idea of using the loop, because I can create all type of music, you know, and if I know that I got this person that can do this and this person that can do that and that person that can do that, and I can call him to do this, it makes my life so much more easier, and I can get more stuff done versus, you know, just me by doing it by myself. And I never have a problem with loop makers as long as we have an understanding, you know. And I think a lot of times the loop makers and, you know, the producers or whoever they're giving it to, they just don't have that understanding. And a lot of times people are so one-sided and lopsided and they're not fair that, you know, it just creates that disconnect between the two. But when you're fair and you have that understanding, It's not a problem at all. Like I've never had a problem with loop makers. Like the only issue I've ran into was not with the loop makers, but with their manager, you know? And a lot of times it's always that because the management, you know, they're either greedy or they just do things that's not reasonable and can mess up the placements, you know? And then once you have that confrontation with the loop maker or management or whoever, you just decide to yourself like you don't want to deal with it again. And that's the thing, that's the problem that you just really have to watch out for, you know, because it's like this manager that I was dealing with, the producers he was managing, they're, you know, platinum producers, you know, they've got Grammys, you know, but and they're dope as like they're dope. Like all of them are super dope, but I'd rather not deal with them. I can find dope people like them, you know, that don't have the credentials that I don't necessarily have to go with the headache of going through. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're charging your fee, when your fee is, you know, $5,000 for independents who might not have $5,000. You know what I'm saying? Or when you're trying to take a percentage out of a track that you didn't place. You know, like it's just you got to have that understanding. And if you don't have that understanding, that's where the disconnection is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very, very true. So talking about the industry, you know what I'm saying? What are some of like your biggest pet peeves as far as like the business side of the music industry, like when it comes to producers getting the right credits, you know what I'm saying?
The biggest,
Stuff like
my
that.
big, it's a lot, bro. But I'm gonna see if I can narrow it down to the main. The main is the fact that they don't pay us on time. I don't agree with that because they hawk us down and they hound us to get these contracts done so that they can get the music out, but they don't pay us on time. That's bullshit. That is the biggest pet peeve. That's bullshit. And that trickles down to producers losing work because the producers who are seasoned, they have the producers who are new, who are really just trying to get on and will do anything to get on and don't get paid and don't care if they're getting paid. And that's why producers have a hard time getting paid because these newer producers come in and just want the name. They want the clout. And it messes up, you know, other producers from getting paid. So that's the biggest thing is definitely the getting paid. And then the aspect of the middleman. The middleman kills me. I hate the middleman. I try to X out the middleman in everything that I do. I cannot stand them because the middleman, they make things harder because their percentages and what they're asking for and what they're trying to do, like it just doesn't make sense. So I can't stand, like if I could go around that middle person, I will do that every time.
Okay. And then how late do producers get paid? Like how does that whole thing?
I mean, it really depends on what you put in your contracts. Like a lot of times we don't necessarily put it in the contracts because we may not be smart enough to know. But like as you get smarter, there's ways that you can do it. You know, Sunny Digital says something that was very important that, you know, I want to start putting in my contracts, and that's if you don't pay me within 15 days, then there's going to be interest on it. So every day that you're not paying me, the money's going to go up. And I think that, you know, a lot of producers start putting that in their contracts. And I think that I'm going to start doing that in my contracts. I'm giving them a 15-day window. If you can't do it within 15 days, this is what it's going to go up every 5 days.
Yeah, that's smart. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty smart. Shout out to Sunny Digital. I ain't gonna lie, that's pretty smart. What's your opinion on like the best DAW to use as a producer? Like, is it Logic, Fruity Loop, Ableton?
You know, to each his own. Every program has, you know, it's perks. You know, a lot of people like DJs and stuff like that like to use Ableton, I guess. I use Logic. I use Logic 9 and Logic 10. Right now, I'm learning whole 10. You know, I'm taking classes for that for Logic 10, but you know, I'm on the Logic 9 and I can make Logic 9. People think I'm using Fruit Loops. It just really just depends on how you can manipulate that DAW. Fruit Loops is a DAW, it's a great drum machine. You know, the VSTs are cool, but the VSTs and Logic are better. But, you know, everything, you know, it works the same. It's just the drum patterns and everything in Fruit Loops is just different. But Logic, I found a way to make it sound like Fruit Loops. So I don't necessarily need to use Fruit Loops. I have it, I just don't use it. So it really just depends on what you want to use.
Yeah, because my man Urko, he was telling me like Pro Tools is like the go-to for like all
Eriko, the engineer.
Yeah, he was telling me like Pro Tools is
Eriko's like 40 something years old. He's like Erico's like 45. He's older. You know what I'm saying? Like Erico grew up on Pro Tools. Any producer engineer that grew on that, they're gonna stick to their guns. I mean, that's what they use. You know, I love Erico. That's one of my greatest friends in this music industry. But you know, the older ones, him, Street Runner, like they use that. You know, the MPCs, the Pro Tools. But the younger generation, they're not using Pro Tools, bro. Nobody's going in Pro Tools and doing that. It's almost similar to using I mean, you could do the same. It's just more complicated in Pro Tools. But Fruit Loops, for one, it was easy. It's very accessible because you could have any money and be able to get the program. So that was the first program I could get as somebody who didn't have any money. You know, Logic is cost bread. You know, Reason cost bread. Like though they were the ones that cost the most money. So I stopped using Fruit Loops when I seen my homeboys I was better than my homeboy. And then all of a sudden, overnight, he shifted like 50,000 gears on me. And I'm like, bro, what happened? Because you was never this close to touching me. And then he showed me Logic, the VSTs and everything that you could use in it. So I switched to Logic. But then Fruit Loops leaped everybody. And then they became the massive DAW to use. Like they just upgraded and created everything that you needed in that. And then everybody started using that. Then it was like, oh, well, we should use this. But, I stuck to Logic and, did the same things in Logic that you can do in Fruit Loops. So it really just depends on what you want to use.
Okay. It's not just Erico, but I've heard from, like a lot of people, like even my personal engineer, like Plattis, he told me like Pro Tools is just cleaner to use.
How old is he?
I think he's like 27.
That's weird.
20.
I don't hear people talking about Pro Tools.
I keep on hearing everyone say Pro Tools, Logic too, but mostly Pro Tools.
Yeah, I use Logic. Logic is like it's like Pro Tools, but it's easier. It's not as confusing as Pro Tools. So that's why I stick with Logic.
Okay.
And I've been using Logic since 2010.
Did you teach yourself how to make your own beats?
Yeah. Okay. I taught myself how to make my own beats, and I taught myself how to use Logic. And now after 12, 13 years, I'm now taking a class to learn Logic. So it's like it's crazy because it's like it works though because it gives me different stuff that I never knew how to do it faster. My whole thing is people say, quality over quantity, and I agree with that. But I like to be fast. When I'm doing my stuff, bro, I like to be fast. And the fact that I got loops now, bro, I could really make a beat in 10, 15 minutes, bro. 10, 15 minutes, that's all I need, bro. And I can bang out a beat, and you would think, nigga, it took me all day to make that beat. 10, 15 minutes. Real shit.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay. So what's your opinion on like, this is like a complete 180, I ain't gonna lie. What's your opinion on like manifestation? Like,
so
like, and like at what point in your personal life have you experienced it?
I mean, manifestation, I believe in it. I do believe in it because it's happened so much. But it's like crazy because it's like you try to manifest certain things sometimes and it just doesn't work out the way that you planned it. But I always look at it as, you got to look for the signs. I always think about looking for signs. But I do believe in manifestation because it's like I've been telling myself since I was a kid that I was going to do this, and I'm doing it. I told myself since a kid I was going to win a Grammy, and I got nominated. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like when you see stuff like that, you like, okay, yeah, manifestation and God is real. Like it works, It really does. So you never know how it's going to come, when it's going to come. But if you manifest it, I feel like it's going to come. If you tell yourself that you have it, if you tell yourself that you're doing it, it's going to come. And it's easier said than done. Because when you're broke, you ain't thinking that manifestation shit. You thinking, yo, I don't got the, you're not. You thinking, yo, I ain't got it. Like, I'm broke. I don't have no fucking bread. But they tell you to say that you have it. Like you do have it, or it's coming, it's on the way. And when you do that, you just have to be positive. But like I said, it's easier said than done. You're telling a person to say he won $1 million that, yo, I got $1 million, it's on the way. And you got $500 in your bank account. So it's harder, but you also have to put in the work too. If you don't put in the work, it's not ever gonna happen. you got to put in the work, and you have to believe. And in order to believe, you got to have done it. Like I always say, you can't touch millions of dollars if you never touch hundreds of thousands of dollars. And you can't touch hundreds of thousands if you ain't touched thousands. And you can't touch thousands if you ain't touched hundreds, right? So it's like when I was touching hundreds, I was like, okay, I'm getting hundreds. Then I start touching thousands, and I'm like, damn, I'm actually getting thousands of dollars. Like I'm doing this easier than what I thought it was going to be. Then when I made my first 100,000, I'm like, damn, nigga really made 100,000 this year. Like, nigga, this shit real. Like I could really do this. Your mentality, you level up. When you do it, you level up. I ain't touched $1 million yet, but I'm on my way. I'm going to touch $1 million. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, you got to level up that mentality, that way of thinking. And it also comes with prayer and manifestation.
Yeah. Amen. Amen, brother. I ain't gonna lie. So how did this whole Meek Mill Boozy song play out? Because I heard about it on another interview, but I just wanted to hear it again, like in your own words. Like, how did that? Why did the things happen? Why was it released early? All that stuff.
Man, that was a fucked up placement, bro. It's crazy because my supposed biggest placements were my most fucked up placements. Like, it's the weirdest thing, bro. Like with that was my song at first. I wrote that song, and I made the beat. I was in the studio with B Simone. I don't know if you know her. A lot of people know Braylon. That's like one of my homegirls, and we was in the studio together. And I just made the song, and I was like, I'm keeping this. This is mine. And I was performing it everywhere, and I seen the reaction to it. Niggas was going absolutely bonkers. They were going nuts when I would do this song, and I'm like, yo, and it got to the point where I was like, I need some bread. And I just hit Meek up like 5 times, bro. And he just never responded. Even though I already had records with him, he just never responded. And then one day I hit him again. And, I was like, yo, I'm going to send you this record. And he was like, bet, send it to this email. So I sent it to him. But all I did was send him the hook in the beginning. I just sent him the hook. So it just came on. Fuck you mean, boy? Like right in your face. So, he hit me. The next day, had the internet going crazy. And he ended up, Boosie got out of jail, and he put him on it. Atlantic was excited. Everybody was excited. They were supposed to shoot the video for it. It was going to be crazy. It was going to be his follow-up single. Then he got locked up again. And when he got locked up again, the judge, she basically was just fucking with people's lives, bro. Like, fuck her for life, because she ruined people's lives with that, because it was so much stuff that he was supposed to do that he wasn't allowed to do and he couldn't do. Nobody knows how the record got leaked. People have speculations. I'm not going to get into that. But nobody knows how the record got leaked. But it did. Somebody sent it to me. I sent it to Dallas Martin. Dallas was like, nah, I didn't get leaked. You good. And then he came back like, actually, it did get leaked. So, we're going to put it out. You know what I'm saying? And it just fucked everything up. I lost a major bag off of that. And, it is what it is. They did try to include me on that Drake Meek Mill beef, using it. I had a clip on my page of me writing the hook. So everybody started calling me his ghostwriter. So then like magazines like was reaching out to me to do interviews. Like, yo, you write for Meek, because he pulled the whole thing with Drake. And I was like, bro, I ain't got nothing to do with that. Leave my name out of all of that shit. Like, I don't believe in that, bro. Like, I probably could be further if I was that type of nigga. Like, if I was chasing nigga, I would be a lot further. My integrity will not allow me to do something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of them things where it's like, bro, like, leave me alone. I wrote a hook. Niggas write hooks all the time. You feel what I'm saying? Like, don't include me on none of that shit. You feel what I'm saying? I just don't believe in it, bro. I believe in being loyal. I believe in, having integrity with whoever I work with. It don't matter who I work with, whoever I work with. It's a good business model, bro. And there's no loyalty in this industry nowadays. So it's like, it's good that somebody actually, sticks to his morals. And that's just how I've been. So I left it alone. But, like I said, that was one of my worst placements just because of how everything played out.
Okay, so that was your worst placement. What do you think was your best placement? In your opinion, at least.
It's weird because it's like, I think my best placement was my Well placement. But You know,
because it got you nominated for the Grammy, basically.
Yeah, because it got me nominated for a Grammy. But you know, none of these placements that I've gotten I haven't really been satisfied with. Not one placement that I've done that I've gotten, I haven't been satisfied with it. Probably because of the way I did my business back in the day, kind of messed everything up with the placements. But you know, it hasn't been satisfying. I don't think I'll be satisfied until either I break my artist record, you know, with an independent, and that does, you know, that hits the charts, or I get one with an artist and we get in the top 20. I think that's the only way I'll be satisfied with any placements. But right now, I'm thankful, I'm grateful, but I just feel like it's so much more that I can do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So do you have artists like currently under you, or is that?
I have one artist.
Okay.
His name is Chibi LOL.
Chibi LOL.
Yeah, that's my artist. He's 19. I had him since he was 16, and the kid's amazing. I feel like we're close. You know, we get stagnant at times, but I feel like we're close, and that's who I've really been rocking with for the past 3 years.
That's dope. I fuck with that.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. So I guess my last question, or I guess my second to last question. Who are some like dream collabs that, you know, just as a producer that you just want to work with? It could be a producer, it could be an artist, like.
For sure. One of my dream collabs I already scratched off of my bucket list, but it was also one of my worst placements. But that was with Eminem. Eminem and Drake are my favorite artists. They've been my favorite artists for a long time. I always liked Eminem as a kid. I always wanted to be able to work with him, and I was able to, you know, and I thought it was just the wildest. I always said I was going to work with him, Manifestation again, and it was the wildest thing ever. But it also turned into another worst placement because it ended up being a collab track with his artists, and they merged the track I did with M with the track Boogie did with Street Runner, who was one of my mentors. So it worked out, but it's still one of my worst placements. You know, and it was a dream collab. But I think that also Drake, I want to collab with Drake. That'll be a dream collab that I want to do. Anybody else is extra. I really could care less. Because right. I meet these artists and I meet these producers, and I don't even really want to be in the same room with them. So it's like I'd be good, you know, working with somebody like I'd rather work with a nigga like 40 than any producer, because it's just the knowledge that I feel like I could get from somebody like 40, you know, without ego. I'd rather work with somebody without ego, somebody who I can learn from, you know, that ain't holding their dick in their hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Other than that, like, I'd rather not be in the studio with niggas.
So you're kind of like anti-industry, basically. Not completely, but you know,
kind of, sort of. And it's been built up over the years. It's been built that way, but like I said, I have a better relationship with engineers than anybody. Shout out to all of the engineers, like Flo. Shout out to Flo. Shout out to Johan. Shout out to Kendall, my personal engineer. You know, 40, Angie, Randisi. Like, it's so many engineers that I build with and I have a better relationship with. Like, I don't know. I just feel like we understand each other, you know, because they go through a lot. Engineers go through a lot of bullshit, bro. And me going through that, it just keeps you humble, I guess, when you go through that. And I'm never going to change. Even when I do make my millions and get on these charts, like, I'm never going to change how I act. But a lot of producers have, you know, a lot of engineers have. So when they get on, but I just like the humble ones, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to know, like, how was the reaction when you found out that the Annuel song was nominated for a Grammy? Like what were the emotions running through your head?
Bro,
like, that's big, bro. That's big.
I broke down, bro. Like, I broke down because my mom is gone. You know, she died in 2016. And this is something that I've always talked about with her. So that kind of, it broke me down. Now, I was excited, but I was also disappointed at the same time, though. I was disappointed, but I was excited. And the reason why I was disappointed was because fucking Bad Bunny had 2 nominations in that category. And I already knew what was going on, bro. Like, I already knew what was going to happen.
Politics and shit.
It's not even just politics. It's just you know, Bad Bunny's fan base is just bigger. It's crazy because he actually didn't win the Latin Grammy. J Balvin did. But Bad Bunny did win the actual American Grammy. He won that one. But J Balvin actually won in our category. And J Balvin had a dope ass album too. Like I can't even like I don't even stunt on like J Balvin and Bunny's albums, bro. They're dope. Like their albums are dope. So like I'm not even like tripping to lose to something like that, you know. But I just knew because that one album that Bunny did, it just stayed on the chart, bro, for so long, bro. So I already knew what was going on. But like I said, I was excited because I was like, I can finally add Grammy nominated to my name. Like, so I think that you know, is pretty dope.
Yeah, that was dope. And congrats on that shit. That's pretty big, bro.
I'm gonna show you. I actually got it. I made sure that I placed it over top of a picture of my mom. So I got my mom right here, and then I got the nomination right here. So
that's dope.
It's pretty dope.
That's dope. That's inspiration right there, bro. Keep going. Yeah. So last question, you know what I'm saying? I know you're probably busy, but where do you see yourself like a year from now? Like,
man, so with everything, but it's so crazy because I just feel like I'm a savant in this now. And it's like any day, any week, something big could happen to me. Any day, any week, because I put in so much work and I plant so many seeds. I'm constantly planting seeds. Any day, that tree could strike gold. Any day. So it's like within a year, who knows where I could be. I'm about to do a deal with somebody, and I'm trying to deliver my requirements in that deal in 6 months. And if I can do that, it's a 2-year deal. I'm trying to do it in 6 months. If I can do that in 6 months, who knows what the year can hold for me. So that's why I'm like, man, in a year, anything can happen. Anything but going backwards. We ain't going backwards. I know that for sure. We ain't going backwards. You know what I'm saying? But anything, bro. Anything can happen in a year.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope, man. Hey, appreciate you coming on, bro.
No, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Wish you the best of luck. You know what I'm saying? Let the people know where to find you. Instagram, Twitter, all that, bro.
My Instagram is IamJOliver410. IamJOLIVER 410, so they can find me there. That's what I'm on the most. I don't do the whole TikTok shit. That shit ruining music. So I don't be on.
You don't fuck with TikTok?
I mean, I have one. You know, I post videos on there and stuff like that. You know, of course, you know, to stay in the loop. But I just feel like it's ruining music. So it's like, it's like a gift and a curse, I guess you could say.
Yeah, niggas.
Because nobody's trying to create music anymore. They're all trying to create viral moments. So it's like, and the viral moments are the ones that's winning because they're the ones that's creating the attention to bring in the revenue. So it's messing up music, but it is what it is. Can't complain.
They got a whole music department out there. They got music charts.
Yep.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy, man. But hey, yeah, again, appreciate you coming on. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you want to come back on, you're welcome. You know what I'm saying?
All right,
appreciate it, bro.
All right, my G.